reflection every day of stopping and saying, okay, what's going right, what's going wrong, what do we need to be concerned about? We're going to have snow. Let's take this into effect. We're going to get a change in barometric pressure. Let's think about that. So again, that safety meeting happens once a day for each crew going on. Janice talks about the equipment, the clothing that we wear. All the workers have fire retardant clothing that they're wearing. You'll see areas where you can't wash out the equipment you're using, wash out your hands, have eye spray. You'll see several areas where you'll have fire extinguishers. Once again, we're looking to ensure that the safety of our workers is job one. And again, we then have our own audit of surprise inspections, and then the state has their own likewise. So again, we're complying with those at the same time. Am I missing anything that you can think of? All right.
George, can I just ask you about radioactivity in the drill cuttings?
Yes.
Is there any radioactivity?
Yes, there is. Yes. Susquehanna County, as it goes, has a very high background level of arsenic. I don't know if you know that, but just as background for arsenic, it's here. So when we drill through it, we drill through it. So we're going to find arsenic in our cuttings no more than you would find as your normal background. Likewise, when you think of your granite countertops at home or any of the buildings that are laid out in New York that were owned straight from a quarry, that's where your naturally occurring radiation comes from. The earth is radioactive. It's called norm, naturally occurring radioactive material. So when we introduce the drill bit through the earth at 10,000 feet, we're going to go through that radiation, that radioactive material. We bring it back to the surface through the cuttings. There is no higher percentage, there is no greater concentration because you're bringing it to the surface. It doesn't interact with one another to make it any higher. In addition to that, when this goes off, Keystone Landfill, you might be aware of, that's one of the ones we go to, they wand all of our loads that they receive. And they're not having any issues with radioactivity either, because they're not permitted to take it. So we take a sample ourselves. Keystone Landfill is just one example, takes a sample themselves. We're not seeing any increase at all in radioactivity. So those are the things we're always looking for. The other thing to talk about is the drill bit itself. We didn't really hit upon this, but when you drill, we have to get the cuttings back out. And you do that by a drill bit going down. What we refer to as mud is what has the drill bit all around it. That mud creates viscosity to bring to the surface the cuttings. So instead, like when I drill through a 2x4, I create a lot of sawdust that sort of just finds itself to the surface. In our operations, you're drilling through, you're cutting it, you're crushing that earth, but around it is the cuttings float back to the top. And what you see here are a series of boxes in the back. Those cuttings come up, intermixed with what we call drilling mud. That drilling mud is then shaped. The drilling mud goes back down hole. It's a 100% closed loop system likewise. It's recycled, and then the cuttings are separated. They fall off into the strong boxes. They get then taken off site.
But you still use the mud for the in the drilling part of it for heat take recovery. So the drill bit doesn't overheat.
Correct. Good point. The question is that the mud that the drill bit is in, number one, the drill bit at all points knows what it's going through. It has sensors on it that'll tell you pressure readings, what type of soil it's going through. If it has a show of gas at 200 feet, it tells us that. It also has pressure readings along it. So as it goes down, it's going to tell you the pressure as how fast you're drilling, how slow you're drilling, and the pressure of your mud. You want it stabilized. So if you're drilling and all of a sudden you lose pressure, that's telling you that your mud's going somewhere. It's either going out or it's coming up. So again, then you therefore make the changes necessary on that. But you're also pulling the drill bit head as well as allowing those cuttings to come up around the side. So again, that's what in the industry is called drilling mud, and that's how we get the rock surface.
one other thing in Georgia that's not, if it's not specific to Cabot, but a lot of times on these sites will be a small containment area that's lined, and what that's for is a preset rig will go prior to this to wash out the cement tanks after they've cemented in the well. A lot of people have accused us of that being pullback, and what it is water and cement clean out the trucks so the trucks don't get seized up after they cement. And then once the cement job is done, the vacuum truck comes in and takes that water and cement. So if you do see a small containment, that's what it is. It's to wash out the cement.
We'll walk our way down it. Again, any questions, I'm happy.